I suddenly realized, like, I don't have any money. To me, it kind of sounded like me behind a flagpole. You know what I mean? Like, because I knew nothing going into this.
Ow! Oh, I hurt my hand just doing that.
Yeah, see, you got to register that weapon right
there. Dude,
there.
I'm a wimp. It's pathetic.
If you stop going, your friends make fun of you. It's like, okay, I'll be there. And then they beat you up, and the cycle begins. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the SIAA Master Agent, Pete Fullinwider. Pete, how are you, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for being here. You and I are both insurance kids in Idaho, but I don't think I know how you got started in the industry and what you initially did. Tell me more about that.
The same way you did, right? They say you're an insurance agent because your dad was, and that's very true. And his dad was. You know, I got into it. I started as a file clerk. And I wasn't a good one. I would sit around and go through, back in the day we had paper, and you could look through the ratings and see which sports cars had the highest symbol. And I would get distracted and go through the old rating books and see, like, oh, how much would a Dodge Viper be, right? Oh, 27H, high performance, you know? And that's how I spent most of my time. And so I left that first attempt at insurance for a better job delivering furniture, I thought. So yeah, that was the first time. Yeah.
So I mean, I think I've had 3 insurance jobs. Mm-hmm. Mowing the lawn at Hartwell.
Oh, nice.
Technically, I delivered toys for what is now an agency called Trucordia. It was called Peter C. Foy and Associates at the time. Okay. And then my other first job was working at Brown & Brown in California. But that being said, my dad never owned the agency per se. Mm-hmm. So with a dad who owns the agency, like your dad did, you can have, like, you know, hey, come in for an afternoon, come in for this, come in for that. Did you see like those types of different roles pop up where you just kind of were with him?
Not a whole lot. So after I realized that furniture delivery was not going to be my future, I got into sales. And I did retail sales for a long time. And then that's when it made more sense for me to go back to insurance. And it was pretty much a start from the bottom thing. You know, I went to licensing classes at a different agency over at Silver Key. Okay. And they still do them. I send people there now. Okay. Started off selling monoline Progressive. And I made $5 $5 per sale, more or less, and then, you know, commissions on the back end later. But that's really how it was, and I would just, you know, that's how I got into it. And I learned from company reps, and, you know, started building my own book of business, and it's kind of how it was, you know. James, my father, he had purchased the business from a fellow named Jim before him, and he already had a pretty established book, and it wasn't really the kind of insurance I wanted to get into. It's lots of professional liability, errors and omissions, like the complicated stuff, right? And I wasn't ready, honestly, experience-wise, to even try to learn that kind of stuff. So I learned a lot from just basic P&C stuff, cars, homes, autos, RVs, from carrier reps, from other agents and things like that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Who would you say, as you got to know more people in the industry, and you learned internally, but also externally, you know, with underwriters or marketing reps, who do you look back on saying, you know what, in hindsight, this person made a big impact in my career?
Robert Fenn, you know him? He is one of the principals at Silver Key, and or he used to be. And I had went to him for my insurance licensing classes, probably 2005, maybe 2008, and he was also our Progressive rep, and had been. And I just learned a lot from him. I learned a lot how marketing works, what not to do, what to do. And he was one of those guys that had a lot of great quotes that would just stick in your head, right? And I remember him saying once, and I don't know how this came up in an insurance class, but he goes, you know, if you have $10,000 in the bank and you owe a credit card $10,000, that's the same thing as not having any money. And I'm like, this guy's been reading my mail. So I think how did he know? I was like, oh, I suddenly realized, like, I don't have any money, right? And so just little things like that. And then moreover, like how to treat a customer, how to handle a claim, you know, how to bring the tone down a little bit when you get an angry customer. I learned a lot from him. So we still send new hires to him for licensing classes. Okay. He trains like just P&C mostly.
So is he the guy that owns the licensing class over there?
Oh yeah, yeah. He was in a lot of things. He had a driver's ed. I don't know why an insurance guy would want to have anything to do with driver's ed school. But he's got a driver's ed school, a Silver Key independent agency, or at least he used to, and then his insurance licensing classes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think this is the guy on Emerald in Boise.
Yep.
So did you know that from our Boise location, could probably throw a rock and hit his office?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he has like 15 vehicles out there that he does driver's ed with.
Yep.
They're like yellow Camaros and Hummers and the whole thing.
That's the guy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You never know who you're going to run into when you ask people who helped them in their career.
Yeah, he was a great help. And that was when I was younger, in the business too. But you mentioned SIAA, and on that side of things, they've been really helpful, particularly their VP of sales, a guy named Jim Keene. So my father had started that, and it's kind of like a network. I describe it sort of like a union for independent agencies, right? Okay. So it offers everything from what's basically an apprentice type program where you know how to sell insurance, but you don't know how to sell insurance, if that makes sense, right? Where do I go? What do I do? These companies won't talk to me because I don't have enough business, but I can't get business without companies, right? So they have everything from that to higher level stuff that's like an aggregator, right? Which makes sense. They started 30 years ago in Boston. So it's very much got that kind of like union vibe to it, right? You've got your starters, your middle guys, and then you got your made men, right? They just want to bundle premium, get more money, right? So I was in the process of buying my father out on that because he was retiring when he got medically retired, you could say. And so I wasn't even sure what all that stood for, right? And so I called them, they called me, and they said, well, you know, what are you doing? What happened? And I said, well, I don't know. And so I had this in my head, like, what I'll know by next week, right? And there was a few audible chuckles, like, oh, okay, you're going to learn how, you know, a $14 billion insurance network works by next week, right? But that was my goal, right? It didn't happen. But they said, well, why don't you come back east and meet us, right? Which to me kind of sounded like meet me behind the flagpole, you know what I mean? Like, because I knew nothing going into this. I mean, I knew the idea of it, how aggregators work and stuff, but I didn't understand their goals, their plans for the West Coast and things like that. So I went out there and I met these guys, and it was just the nicest bunch of people that I was almost suspicious. And they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have our vice president of sales work with you guys, me and Catalina. She's our number 2. She's really number 1, but I call her number 2 because I'm number 1 that way, right, if I make it up. And anyways, he said, well, we're going to mentor you. And I thought, oh, okay, well, all right, let's see how this goes. And man, they really did. You know, they spent a ton of time with us. And I just learned a lot, particularly from Jim, on how to slow down, how to understand, how to ask for help. Just kind of a different angle you get when you're dealing with more people besides just a customer, right? And just their patience and their willingness was really kind of refreshing. You know, you don't get that a whole lot. And then also kind of how to be the thermometer in the room, I'm still learning. Be the thermostat in the room, not the thermometer, right? So kind of how to just, you know, decide what you're going to be, or, you know, how you're going to run something, and then do that as opposed to being constantly reactive. So that's been a very rewarding experience. So I think those two fellows stand out more than most.
So with what you're describing with SIAA and learning from Jim, tell me if I say this correctly. SIAA is over the whole U.S. or whatever. It's over like a huge geographic area. But then a subset of that would be All-American, who represents as like essentially a contact point. And then underneath you, or working with you, you have a series of other agents who flow back up through you. Am I saying that?
Sort of.
Okay.
So in the true independent agent kind of theme of things, each state has independent master agencies in it.
Okay.
Right? And so they're independently owned, usually family owned, and that's what Idaho is. So we have Idaho Insurance Agents Alliance, which is us, and then SIA is above us. And then we have a network of other independent agents in this part of Idaho, and some up north a little bit. And they're all wholly owned by themselves, right? And part of it is just your general premium aggregation. But part of it is it all rolls up to SIAA, although an Idaho member wouldn't pay SIAA anything. But SIAA then goes to the carriers and says, hey, you know, we got a couple $2 billion we could move from you to this company over here, and they're offering, you know, a couple percent. What do you guys got? And it goes back and forth that way. And then each member benefits from that, right? So there's different levels. Some require the traditional, premium aggregator, hit your targets, hit your goals and stuff like that. And then some are just a flat bonus you get as being part of the group. And so it rolls up nationally, but what national does is kind of go to companies and say, what are you going to give us, right? Because a good way to explain it, and you know this, right? If you're a new independent agent, they'll send you an email, and that's about the kind of attention you'll get from a lot of companies. But when you're part of a group, that has $14 billion in premium, they're going to send a rep to meet you, right? They're going to teach you how to sell their products and things like that. So that's kind of the range of what they offer.
So like the services and the products they're offering you is the equivalent of the union who would be working behind the scenes, making sure that the best things are given to the members of the union.
Yep. But then there's also things like training, tools. Here's how software works. Here's what a CRM system is, right? Like a lot of us, like you and me, are great salesmen, but beyond that, you got to kind of keep a leash on us a little bit, right? So
get out the broom. Clean
right. Oh yeah, I get swatted with the broom in my office. Like, get out of the books, get out of payroll. So they teach you how to do all that stuff too, almost like an apprenticeship. And then the agencies that are older, right, because it's been around 20 years, there'll be 4 or 5 in one group, They don't need our help to sell stuff.
Right.
So they just aggregate our premium, they'll get an extra point or two from a carrier, and that's it, So they're like, it's almost like a journeyman, apprentice, journeyman, master level kind of thing.
Okay.
Very East Coast vibe to it, right? Started back east, still kind of got that thing to it. It's huge over there. A lot, like thousands of agents over there, and they're just kind of starting to move west now.
So west is like their expansion area.
Yeah, mountain area, stuff like that. They're pretty big in Washington, California, you know how that goes. Yeah, 50-50.
A lot of people over there.
A lot of people, a lot of regulations, always changing. So yeah.
So like when you're not doing insurance and flying to the East Coast to stay up on all things SIAA,
yeah, buddy.
What do you do for fun? What do you do with your free time?
Karate and jiu-jitsu, if body is willing and I have the time. And then if neither of those things are really working out that good, I like to play video games, man.
Video games?
Yeah, buddy.
So like, could you chop this table in half if you needed to, like right now? Ow, oh, I hurt my hand just doing that.
Yeah, see, you got to register that weapon right
there.
Dude,
I'm a wimp. It's pathetic.
I'd break my hand trying. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm a total wimp. You know me. But, okay, so you got karate, jiu-jitsu, video games. Any favorite video games you like?
Like all the Yakuza games, man. Those are fun. You get to be a pirate, any crazy thing you want to be.
Okay.
Race chickens. You got to try it.
Dude, I am... So I am not a video game person per se, but I know my cousins did play, and I would see old school. This makes me old. LAN parties back in the day.
Yeah.
So I had a little experience with Command and Conquer and Warcraft and those kind of games.
Oh my man, yeah, you got the base down. You got it. Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying like I was there when they signed the Declaration of Independence in the video game world, at least.
Okay.
So what do you like about doing like the martial arts? Do you feel like you're like ready to protect yourself on the street at a different level now that you've done that?
Oh yeah, I guess I couldn't imagine something like that really happening, but honestly, I can't work out any other way. I could never get myself to pick things up and put them down just for no reason. Can't jump, can't play ball, can't sing, can't dance. So you gotta do something else. And you know how it is, you get into it because your friends are into it, and then if you stop going, your friends make fun of you, and it's like, okay, I'll be there. And then they beat you up, and the cycle begins. Yeah, I just say I'm good at it. I'm just saying I like to do it. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. Like if I had your jump shot, I saw that video, and I probably wouldn't, right? You could beat a guy with a basketball if somebody came after you. Just whack him.
So I did put the shot of me making it, but I actually have another video I'll post of me chucking up a brick, and it just totally not going in. So you got to post.
I was trying to picture you throwing an actual brick, and I was thinking that would work good for self-defense. You'd probably go to jail, but it would
that's
work.
That's a basketball phrase. That's not jujitsu. I'm not actually using a brick to smack somebody with. So like when you're on your own, commuting, driving to visit a client, whatever, like what are you playing in the car? Podcast, audiobooks? I mean, what's Pete got going?
Insurance podcasts.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Not insurance podcasts. Not yet. I like comedy podcasts. You know, I used to like true crime podcasts, but then I felt like I was hearing the same thing over and over again, so I moved on to comedy.
Dude, you got to be tough to do true crime.
Well, yeah, and then you realize that, like, oh, this really happened to somebody. That's just kind of sad.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm about to go to work. I don't want to think about that. So,
We actually had a EPLI claim recently.
Okay.
And I'll be super vague, but one of our agents called and said, my client called and said, should I just pay them the number they're asking for? Our agent said, well, no, submit it and see if it's legit. And the client said, have you opened the email yet or the attachment? He goes, no. So then but he had called me to say, this one's bad. So anyway, all that to say, it was the type of thing where you open it up and like one of the things would be like alarming, but it was just your classic harassment case.
Okay.
And it was done by people trying to have fun, but it wasn't taken that way. And I was like, oh my gosh. So all that to say, that's as close as we get to true crime.
Yeah, you can't have fun at work. That's excluded.
EPLI and whatever else. So
yeah, we're a no fun zone in my office.
What do you like most about your office right now?
I can park in front.
Oh, speaking of parking.
Okay.
Tesla, tell us the story.
Oh yeah.
Tell us.
Well, I think we've all had seen that hilarious Daily Show video where Trump mispronounced Tesla into Tesla. Made a whole video about it, right? And so, as a semi-Tesla car fan, I like the cars. I never thought I'd have to clarify that. I like the cars.
Right. Well, you have a Tesla. You have a Tesla.
I have 2 of them.
2 Teslas.
Yeah. I really hate gas. Just kidding. And then I have an old car that runs on gas. Anyways, so I thought that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. So I got a license plate that says Tesla. And people get confused by it, right? I see people look at it and they're like, so is he anti-Trump or for Trump or what is he? I'm neither one, but I've seen so many people stop and look at me like, Tesla, like trying to figure out, like, should I key this guy's car or should I high five him, you know? And yeah, so that's the story.
So I hadn't seen that video because there's so much material coming out from the White House or whatever.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen the video where Trump has Teslas in front of the White House like it's a used car sale. And he ends up saying Tesla because he slurs. So this is the perfect summation of you in that you have a Tesla, but you're having fun with Trump mispronouncing Tesla, saying Tesla.
Yep.
Because most people like are on one side or the other. So I think I would say for you, I've seen you be hard to pin down in that you're a true independent in how you see things.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other part, I think that maybe you're not aware of this. The rest of that video, there's a part where he goes, everything's computer, which I guess makes sense. That's a very simple explanation of the car. So I got some stickers made that says everything computer, and I put it on the back of my wife's car and somebody flipped her off. So that's I might have to fix that. But she thought it was funny, but she's like, doesn't really get into memes much where I do. So she's like, some guy flipped me off. I was like, oh yeah, okay. We could take that off, I guess.
I've heard it described this way.
Yeah.
When they were talking about ISIS, this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In a debate, Trump made the comment, we're going to shut down the parts of the internet they use. And somebody had said later, and this is where I could see you like this type of humor. They said, people who don't know about computers probably felt really good about their computer knowledge hearing it being discussed during the debate because there was no nuance to the tech. It was very much like a boomer trying to relay what their team told them. So it makes me laugh.
Well, not the worst part, but there is always a little bit of truth in that. Like, I guess everything is computer. That is one way to put it, you know, and I still won't forget the time. So I've always liked cars, right? And I sold cars very briefly. I was too honest to make any money. But I remember we had an old car in the lot, right? And it was in the detail bay, and it had a 3 on the tree, right? Which is a 3-speed shifted on the thing. And I had no idea how to get that car out of there. I didn't know. I knew how to drive a clutch, but this was like a clutch fiasco I'd never seen in my life. And sure enough, an older gal came to look at the car, and I asked her, I was like, you wouldn't happen to know how to run a 3 on a tree, would you? And she goes, yeah, sure. And so she backed it out for me. Right, so that's always there. A 3 on a tree is like, if a Tesla is all computer, then old 3 on a tree is like ropes and pulleys to shift gears, right? Anyways, she got it out of the bay for me, so that was nice.
So you gonna teach your kids how to drive a stick shift someday?
They're not allowed to drive. There'll be no driving.
No driving?
I don't want, do you have seen insurance rates for kids? It's ridiculous.
I know, that's true. I mean, Pete, you own an agency, but can you afford to have your own kids drive? I mean,
no.
I mean, you're up here, but I mean, these $10,000 per kid or whatever they're charging these days?
They are excluded.
Excluded. Well, in a perfect world, my kids would know how to drive a stick shift. I learned on a stick shift.
Same.
But when you said they're not going to drive, I thought you were saying maybe Tesla will have a, self-driving car by then, so we won't have to worry about it.
Oh, well, if you ask them, they have one right now, right? That is too scary to try to let that thing drive for you. No, I only have one kid, but I'll exclude her twice, so I can say my kids won't drive.
Good work. Good
Yeah,
work.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
You been in one of those Waymos yet that drives itself? Like
That
in
was
Phoenix?
cool. Yeah. I was in one in San Francisco. Those guys got it down. They got it down. That's better than Tesla, I think.
Dang, I know. I'm a little concerned. I know that's Musk's vision, right? Is to get to have like that be the biggest part of Tesla is those robo taxis.
Was that his vision today? Okay.
Well, no. I mean, at least in Isaacson's book, which I recommend anyone who wants to learn about Musk, is he said Musk has said for a number of years, when we get robo taxis working and there's no drivers, it will be bigger than SpaceX, bigger than Tesla, bigger than anything we've ever done. Now, of course, he's looking way into the future, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of blue sky being sold there.
Yeah, I bought 2 of his blue sky cars, full self-driving, and then they started crashing in, so now it's full self-driving supervised. And I'm thinking, it's not the same as me driving? So yeah, that guy, okay, sure.
I know.
Right.
You know what? It's a big vision. It's a big vision.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's close with this question.
Sure.
If you had to give advice to someone who was thinking about the insurance industry right now, or maybe just started, who was a little discouraged, what advice would you give them?
Don't do it alone. You have to find somebody to teach you how to do it. And that can be a tricky part, right? Because a lot of people don't want to teach you how to compete against them. But in this day and age, the odds of you just all on your own, looking up how to sell insurance, and then you're not going to learn on Google, let's put it that way. You have to get to know people, and you need a mentor of some sort. And then I think if you find someone you get along with, or a group, or an agency, you'll be all right.
Right. So find the right community or the right person. Stick with them, because it's not easy enough to do it by yourself.
Right. My old karate sensei had and he was a mentor too in another way. He had a great expression. There's a lot of stuff, teach yourself martial arts kind of stuff on YouTube and things like that. And I remember asking him once, do you think that would work? He goes, well, I think you can teach yourself to play basketball from YouTube, but I don't know how well you do in a pickup game. And I think you can probably relate to that, right? I can watch YouTube basketball all day, but you're going to whoop me, right? So I see how he nodded his head right there. Yeah, I'm going to. That's right. That's right.
Well, no, I'm so agreeing with your
that's
analogy.
a lot of it. Yeah.
That is actually, I really like that, because there's a flow to basketball that you can't teach by, you need to be on the court moving around.
Yep.
Pete, good stuff, man. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
today. Appreciate you.
Yeah, got a good punch there, dude.